Welcome to the second track guide on P1 Broadcasting. This week for Season 1, Week 1 of 2025, the Iowa Speedway in Newton, Iowa. This .875 mile speedway features 4 lanes of high-banked, short oval racing, which will be sure to see these Indy cars running 3 wide. Completing laps in just about 17.5 seconds, this race will be full of action and a lot of strategy. This track was generated on May 28th, 2024 at about 7 p.m. When qualifying, it's very important to set your front bar to a setting that will allow the car to rotate without over-rotating. I feel that a 6 front bar is mandatory, and a rear bar you can set anywhere from 2 to 5. I would avoid using weight jacker as it feels like it just over-rotates the car and slides speed out of each corner. On your get up to speed lap, make sure that you stay as high as possible and out of the marbles if the track generated with any. This may mean staying in the second or third lane depending on track usage. Coming to the white flag lap, which will be your fast lap, make sure to point your left front tire towards the yellow line of the track without overstepping to the apron. That will over-rotate the car and spin it out. Do what you can to go flat out through all of qualifying to maintain as much speed as possible. You don't need to worry about your tire life, so sawing on the wheel a little bit won't hurt you too badly, but it will scrub speed, so be as smooth as you possibly can be. Running on the track with other cars is way different than qualifying. If you have clean air, the same principles remain. Point to the bottom and keep the wheel smooth. But when the other cars are around you, you need to concede space on the racetrack to them and find clean air whenever possible. Cars on your outside will carry more momentum, be faster down the straights. Compromise your speed on entry in order to be able to attack them on exits. You see that cars going from bottom to top on exit have a hard time maintaining momentum down the straightaway, which will give you an opportunity to cross them over on corner exit or into the next corner. When racing with more than one car, make sure to leave ample space for everyone. The car in third or in the back of the pack will have to deal with the most dirty air and will suffer from major aero push. When you are in that situation, make sure to lift early and wait for the car to rotate before you pick up the throttle. On the bottom, this will mean fully lifting from the throttle, and on the top, it probably means cracking it while you are on corner entry. Setting up a pass on a car in front of you when they've got better tires can be difficult. If they're married to the top lane, go to the bottom, and if they're married to the bottom, go to the top. Be careful to judge the distance between your two cars respectfully anytime you try to make a pass. Here, I misjudged the exit of the corner, and the white car and I make contact. This would end both of our days in a race session, so make sure to avoid doing that. When two cars are on even tires, the lead car will dictate whatever line they'd like to run. Usually, you can expect them to run the bottom. Later in a run, they might try the top. Offset your car from there so you get maximum clean air and can conserve as much tire life as possible. If they're leaving the bottom open for you, take the bottom. If they're taking the bottom, take the middle. And if they're taking the middle, you can do whatever you feel is right. Typically, the top will just roast your tires and be a little bit slower except for certain parts of the run. Use your own judgment and try to stay in the mirror of the car in front of you and force them into a mistake. That's probably the only way you're going to pass a car that has uncontested clean air until they catch lap traffic. Here, the car in front hits the safer barrier, and it's pretty easy for me to scoot on by. On older tires, you'll need to be a little more delicate with the throttle on corner entry. This car feels pretty planted with the bars listed below 6.5 with no weight jacker, and you'll be able to get off the corner with minimal tire slide. When passing a car on the bottom, it is your responsibility to not make contact with the car to your outside. Be respectful of their space and allow them time to react to your move. This may allow them to cross you over in the next corner, but it's better than making contact and ending both of your races. As you can see here, even on these older tires, I can race pretty aggressively in the top and the middle lane with only marginal lifting. Be mindful of the bumps in turns 1 and 2. They will really upset your car and cause cars on the bottom to carry much more momentum than you. Entering with your left front tire on the white dotted line avoids these bumps and protects your position. Be courteous when other cars are trying to come up clear in front of you. Rear-ending them will end your day. Usually it's better just to lift. When pitting, make sure to back up the entry appropriately. You'll need to start braking about where you would stop lifting normally. The car in front of me misjudged their entry, whereas I got down to pit road appropriately. Turn on the pit limiter and stay as far left as possible to cut as much distance as you can while on pit road. You'll see here that my tires were down below 70% on the right front and right rear. This track is also cooler and later in the day than will be in race conditions, so make sure to preserve tire life as much as you can. Preserving your tires is critical because at the end of the race you may want to stay out on older rubber. Lap times will only slow down to the 17.7 bracket, which may prompt you to keep track position over fresh tires. I'd run another full stint by myself while the track was in conditions more similar to the race. Look at my pit entry there and compare it to the previous one. Additionally, you can see my tires were much more worn out on the hotter track. So, to recap, back up your corners and attack your exits, protect your right front tire, prioritize the bottom when you can, and go as fast as possible. Those are your tips for Iowa. Feel free to leave any questions in the comments below or at me at the community Discord at Klendy, and I'll do what I can to answer your questions. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next week.